Today we are here to welcome Henry Kissinger. Henry? Henry, how do you think your education has helped you with the role you have today?
Well, I went to Harvard, and I led the Harvard International Seminar, and I met a lot of international figures that I work with today.
Henry, can you provide some brief background history on the Vietnam War?
Well, political figure Ho Chi Minh came back to Vietnam after 30 years of being away, and him, along with all of Vietnam, wanted to be free of French rule, so they tried to persuade the U.S. to fight against the French, and even provided military intelligence against Japan in World War II. And once France finally stepped out, the U.S. had to step in because they feared that Vietnam would be communist.
What is your role in the Vietnam War?
I'm currently the foreign policy advisor. I help negotiate peace between the two countries and seek to
Do you feel like we need to be in this war today?
I feel like this war is unnecessary, so I've been in charge of peace talks to stop ceasefire in Vietnam.
Done differently to reduce the number of deaths in this
I
war.
would have used more humane methods of attack, such as using less firepower. Our president, Nixon, dropped 100,000 bombs on Hanoi and Haiphong in order to free American prisoners, which killed many of innocent civilians.
Why did you support Southern Vietnam?
I needed to expand the combat role of the Southern Vietnamese army so that it would be able to defend itself against opposing enemies.
What needs to be done in order to win the war? Did North Vietnam even have a valid reason for entering the war?
Disagree with their reasons for entering the war. North Vietnam was a communist country, South Vietnam was not. They wanted to expand their communism around to neighboring countries, which caused the war. Well, I think the South needs to learn how to be independent without the help of a communist country. The U.S. needs to train Southern Vietnam so that it can be independent and learn to stand on its own.
What are your charges of murder and war crime?
I feel like it was very cruel, harsh, and unjust. It was necessary to do this because we had to free our American soldiers. We should have sought an alternative that murdered less civilians.
You're indirectly responsible for the bloodshed of Americans and Vietnamese in the war?
Certainly not. I tried to prevent I tried to prevent bloodshed by initiating a ceasefire agreement with
Do you think that
Vietnam.
your time as the 56th Secretary of State was a success? And why or why
I
not?
think it was definitely a success. It gave me the chance to write many books, articles on the United States foreign policy, international affairs, and diplomatic history. I was able to negotiate the Paris Agreement with Vietnam in order to end the war.
Your statement, a leader does not deserve the name unless he's willing to occasionally stand alone, relate to your life.
At one point in my life, I did stand alone. I tried to settle the war by myself. I attempted to negotiate a peace treaty that would eventually end the war. Others thought that we should continue to attack North Vietnam. However, I believe that we could leave Vietnam and that the South could stand on their own. I was standing on my own, and I became a leader.
Time, Mr. Kissinger.
No problem.